Hi guys, Tom McGrath here. I wanted to give you a brief overview of my short sword course, which is designed to help people transition between knife-sized tools and a full-length sword in the Tertia system. So here's the core beginning set I use. 4 diagonals starting with reverse 1, and then 2, 3, 4, then 2 horizontals of 5 and 6. 7 is a vertical with the heel palm, 8 is a low line thrust, 9 is a high line thrust, 10 are 2 vertical cuts on a diagonal angle going to his weapon side, opponent's weapon side shoulder, and the double digits are going to be 2 cuts. So that was 10, 11 is a 1, followed by reverse 1, and then 12 is a horizontal cut from behind his arm, downward cut, uppercut. So on Bob here, it's gonna be reverse 1 collarbone, collarbone, arm, arm, head, head or neck, depending what kind of tool you have. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you'll see me, I like to start these with the left hand on the wrist. We call this double force technique. It gives you more power and control over these heavier weapons. And it's also a safety factor if you're transitioning from a long sword with a certain amount of length, or especially a long stick. You have good control over that blade edge, and you're not likely to cut yourself with it, especially blades that may be shorter than your stick. You don't want to come in and have that point or back edge come into your body. So starting with double force gives you more control, and you're basically staying away from your body with that. So that's our core base set. All right, it's very common when you first learn set Tertia to practice that set, right in front of the target. So you get the nomenclature down, what points you're hitting on the body, etc. That sidestepping helps with power generation, but you don't want to stand in front of the bad guy and his, between his arms, inside his guard, because that's where he has power, right? He has the most weapons that can come at you. So really consider this type of stationary, or not stationary, let's say simple sidestepping as where you're staying in one spot as a temporary movement to learn a technique. It's also kind of a placeholder for doing some type of footwork. So what you'll see me often do once we get the basics down is you go in, you do your one movement, have a side step, but then the second movement is going to be reverse triangle, take you offline, something in ranging footwork on the diagonals or the lateral step, so you're not stuck in one spot. You don't want to have someone, fighting and get tunnel vision over here fighting this one bad guy, and then bad guy number 2 stabs you in the back. So you want to get into that footwork of, moving as quickly as possible or as soon as possible in the training period. And you'll see this more as we progress in these type of courses. All right, another transitional movement you'll see in Tertia is very often they'll come in with a tap, left-hand tap. When you first learn this in the Obsidario, you're tapping symmetrically with your forearm lined up to your opponent's forearm or your training partner's forearm, and you're both tapping each other on the forearm just as a neurological placeholder for doing something with your left hand. You want to get out of that training wheels phase as early as possible. It's easiest to illustrate this with a dagger in your hand for spotted dagger work. So you might say, okay, I go 1, I go 2, and I tap that, I thrust that dagger towards him. You don't want to do just a bare bones tap. Even an eye jab, you're trying to do, let's say, a temporary blindfold on something like an eye jab, but use that. Don't hit him. Maybe I don't get the eye, maybe just get the forehead or whatnot. And then when you remove that blindfold, don't be where he last saw you. You know, you want to get off that spot because he's thinking about, all right, as soon as I can see again, I'm going to hit that guy he's probably still here. You don't want to be here. You don't want to be where he last saw you. So whether it's a palm strike or a hammer fist or a thrust or a thrust, whatever you're doing, try to make sure when that knife or that left hand stops being a blindfold, you're no longer in the exact same spot. So you can hit him at range and you're outside his bubble. At the very least, you're increasing his reaction time because he's planning on hitting you, remembering you there, and now you're 2 feet over to his left. He has to readjust, and in that time that it takes him to readjust, you have an advantage. So what you see in people doing beginning Tertia training, you have to understand, especially if you just take one seminar with one of the advanced teachers, you're getting beginning technique, which is to get you, understanding the movement. You're not going to stand there like that. You have to use practical applications of footwork to do this effectively in a fight. So, in a nutshell, what I want you to think about is that left hand, whatever it's doing, is not just, giving a boop on his nose. You're trying to blind him, hit him, even if it's just a slap in the face, it's not permanent damage. But think of that as a temporary blindfold. When that blindfold gets taken off, you should be far away from him. You should not be in the last place he saw you. Thank you.